Everybody, and welcome back to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League, sponsored by Eldridge Air Conditioning. For those that watched early, you would have seen that we brought you the race from League 1 of our Super Formula series. This is League 2 of the same series, the Super Formula SF23s. And yeah, this is run on a Wednesday evening. And as I've already mentioned, this is League 2. We are over in France, and that can only really mean Circuit de la Sarthe, or Le Mans, as most people call it. Now, I understand that Le Mans is an actual race, not the name of the track. It is actually Circuit de la Sarthe, but everybody calls it Le Mans or Lemons to those of us that can't be bothered to split it up, or rubbish at French. 8.4 miles, 38-ish turns. Now, I say ish, it depends what track guide you actually look at. Some got slightly more, others have got slightly less, but the one I've got in front of me says it's 38 turns. And the other thing about this track is 85% of it is full throttle. So a very fast track, and for those that have watched the Le Mans, the 24-hour race, you will know it is a very fast track. Despite the corners being pretty smooth, actually, there are a couple of tricky ones, and they do catch you out occasionally. Well, let's hope it doesn't catch any of these guys out. So we will move on, shall we? This is round 5, and we're going to have a look down the grid. Now, I'm not 100% sure how the grid is determined. I would imagine it is qualifying, about 10 minutes of qualifying. So we'll have a look, and we'll see where they are. So, on pole position is quite a familiar face now, actually. It's PM10. Had a fantastic win last week. It looked like to be cruising all the way, but Panic at the Tesco really came back at him in the last couple of laps, so we're hoping for a bit more of that. Obviously PM10 isn't. He's probably looking to get himself ahead and stay ahead. Panic at the Tesco, who is just behind him, actually second in the grid, he's going to have other things on mind, so he wants to sort of do it one step better than last week, I am sure. I know he enjoyed the race. We had a word afterwards, and he said he actually loved the race, despite not winning it. But I think secretly, between you, me, and the rest of the world, he does want to win. And if he can get one over on PM10, I'm sure he would love to. Just behind, sitting in third, is Rufus. Rufus getting himself up there third on the grid. So well done to Rufus. Let's hope he can keep himself up there in amongst the leaders. Just behind him is P. White. Now, P. White, very quick, actually. He's really come on leaps and bounds in the last, well, quite a few races, actually. He seems to be getting better and better and quicker. So some of you guys up at the top, you better be looking over your shoulders, because P. White is coming for you. Just behind P. White in fifth is Dan Dan, relatively new to URL, but has settled right in. And he's getting himself stuck in good and proper. So always good to see Dan Dan on track. Just behind, it's 6 on the grid, is an old favourite of ours, and I'm sure he won't appreciate me saying old, but I think he knows what we mean. It is Grahamid Ali. Always a fantastic race whenever Grahamid Ali is on track in that shiny red Ferrari livery. Had a good round last week. I think he came third. So again, he'll be hoping for pretty much the same. It's all about tactics and strategy on this track, so let's just hope Grahamid has got his right. Then in 7th, we've got RJS Racing, or RJ from now on. I just can't be bothered to say RJS_Racing all the time. So RJ, I'm sure he doesn't mind. He's sitting there in 7th. Then we've got YT in 8th, all in black. Is it? I don't know what that livery is, but I'm rubbish at... I can do liveries, but I don't know what they are. But anyway, YT is sitting there in 8th. Had a few good races just lately. Gets stuck in, had some good battles. So again, hoping for the same today. Kian, raced with Kian many times. He likes to get his elbows out and he'll get stuck in. He gives as good as he gets, does Kian. So look out. Very quick when he's got his mind on the game. So again, let's fingers crossed. His mind is definitely on it today, because we want to see some good stuff from Kian today. Pete in 10th. Deck in 11th. Declan, relatively new to the Super Formula Series. He was supposed to be racing in the Integrale Series, but the car wasn't available for him, so he switched over into the Super Formula, and well, he's slowly getting used to it. But Deck, very quick, Has a lot of bad luck, unfortunately, to his deck while he's out on track. So let's just fingers crossed that everything's all right for him today. Steele in 12th, and then Vane in 13th. That 13 on the grid is a good turnout, isn't it? Especially here in Le Mans. Can get a bit boring sometimes over longer races because everybody spreads out. But I've got a feeling that this pack are all going to stay pretty much together. So let's get this race started, shall we? And then we'll have a look at, we'll have a chat about tactics and tyres and all the rest of it as we go along. So let's get some of those lights on. The crowd look as enthusiastic as ever, don't they, up there in the left? And yeah, they're really chill, mate. Look at them. They're just too excitable as PM10 takes us down towards turn 1. Panic at the Tesco following him very, very closest. Then we've got Rufus, P. White. Everybody sort of bunching up. As I say, we'll have a look at the tyres. Let's just make sure everybody gets through the first couple of turns. And yeah, we have all started to form a line now as Kian and Grahamid almost side by side. As we come up to, where are we coming? We're coming up to Tetre Rouge at turn 8 for the first time. Really tricky corner this one is. It catches a lot of people out. You break that line like Kian did then and you are likely to get a penalty. Now he might just have got away with that. No, he did not. Like I say, you break that penalty line and that's where you get half-second penalty. As Kian and YT gang up on Dandan heading towards the first of the chicanes at the Forza chicane at turns 9, 10 and 11. Now then we're on to the Mulsanne straight. Oh, as Kian goes very wide again. Now they'd be very lucky not to pick up another penalty there and add it to his half a second that he's already got. Now this stretch between these two chicanes is just over a mile long. It's between the Forza chicane and the Michelin chicane, which the guys are just about to approach now. And Kian just keeping his head just in front of P. White. As we come up to the Michelin chicane, it is P. White on the inside, but Kian gets his nose in front and hits the chicane first. So he'll be cursing he's got that penalty. Not that half a second really matters in these things. They're so quick at accelerating. But he could end up losing a place to P. White if P. White can get a little bit closer. We've got Grahamid in 8th with Pete and Vane just behind. Good start from Vane. Declan in 11th. Not the best of starts for Declan. He wanted to get up through the pack a little bit earlier than that, especially on the soft tyres. A little bit of a bumper kiss there with Vane as Vane hit the brakes and Declan forgot all about the brakes. But they are still going the right direction. Steele in 12th with RJ. Oh, terrible start for RJ. Dropping from 7th all the way down to 13th, so a bit of catching up for him to do. Back up at the front then is PM10 doing exactly what PM10 does. Gets his nose in front and he is off and running. He started on the mediums this time around, so pretty confident around this track, I would say PM10 is. He's on the mediums, he's already opened a bit of a gap. Rufus has managed to get himself in front of Panic, but I think Panic had a penalty. I forgot what it's called then. Wow, the old memory loss is really kicking in now. Rufus up into second, but Panic, I think it was Panic that had the penalty. Settling into third. Panic starting on the hard tyres, so I think Panic may be doing the hard, medium, soft strategy. PM10 doing it the other way around, I think. Well, he's starting on the medium, so he's going to use, I would guess he's going to go on to the hards next, depending on the kind of lead he has. Rufus, he's got a penalty. That's quite a usual thing for Rufus. He does like to pick up the penalties. Now, as we're talking about strategy, you're probably looking on the soft tyres. I think you're looking around about 4 or 5 laps. Same for the fuel, unless you do a little bit of fuel saving. Now, Rufus doesn't. He just likes to burn through his fuel, so he'll probably be coming in at the end of lap 2. I don't think they put the fuel cap on properly on Rufus's car. He does like to get through the old fuel, but he's having a good job at the minute. Doing a good job at the minute, should I say. He's sitting there in P2. He's on the medium tyres as well. And he's got a good enough gap back to Panic at the Tesco. Panic is picking up the penalties as well now. So when Rufus serves his, he'll be able to get back up to pace before Panic catches up. But Panic, he's not going to have that luxury. He's got YT following him, so YT just needs to stay with Panic. In fact, let's go on board with YT, shall we? We've got Panic in just ahead of us with a half a second penalty. Then a quick look behind us and we've got Dandan. Now the last time I looked, Dandan was carrying a 1 second penalty. Look at the slipstream, really putting YT into this chicane first, side by side, but Panic just gives that corner up and lets YT go through. Now then, YT on the better compound tyres, he is on the softs. And I just need to shut my laptop now, so apologies, but bear with me, otherwise it will go into all sorts of a strange mode. So YT then moves up into third with the softer tyres, with Panic just behind him but carrying a penalty. We can just about see Rufus in the distance there as Rufus exits the Michelin chicane as YT enters it. We'll jump out of YT's car because we will do a full lap with one of the guys a little bit later on. Panic then in fourth, carrying that half a second. Dandan behind him with a full second penalty. That is really going to put him back a little bit because Kian sitting there in sixth, he would have seen that now. He would like to get in front of Dandan before he serves that penalty, but the problem is, when you come out of this Mulsanne corner, if you get a good exit and you actually overtake the guy in front, all that's going to happen is he's going to slot in behind you, pick up the slipstream and take the place back. So probably the best thing to do is just sit behind the guy in front until we get near to Indianapolis, then make your move, which will then prevent him getting the place back. That's what I would do. Well, I'd like to think I would do it. I probably wouldn't actually when I was out there, but I would like to think I would do it. But here we go, we're just going to follow these guys through as Panic and Dandan picking up a 1 second penalty, so he's going to have to serve that. Dandan serves his penalty, Panic serves his penalty, and now it is all change as Kian goes through to fourth. Panic at the Tesco in fifth, Dandan sixth. Then we've got Grahamid, he's now joined this party as well. Grahamid starting on the hard tyres. Now I think it is a minimum of 2 laps on each compound. But don't quote me on that one. It's usually around about 2 laps. So it'll be interesting to see when the guys come in because this is the second lap. Fuel will dictate, as I've said. I think the guys are going to be coming in around about lap 4 or 5 unless they are fuel saving and either on the mediums or hards. The guys running the soft tyres are probably not going to get many more than 5 laps out of them. So Grahamid, although sitting down in 7th at the minute, you know, very aware that the guys on the soft tyres ahead of him have got to come in and pit before he does. P White in 8th. Dropped down a little bit as P White, lost a few places, started 4th on the grid, now finds himself down in 8th, but he is on the hard tyres. And this is how these races tend to pan out. You tend to get the guys on the soft tyres making their way through to the front as you would expect, and the guys running the hard tyres drop to the back. But it does all swap over a little bit later on in the race as the guys start to spread out. Who's this got a penalty? Oh, Peter has picked up a penalty, so has Steele. Penalties being dished out. RJ's got one as well, he's got a 1 second. Vane has got a penalty. Wow, this really is going to be a race of penalties, isn't it? And I'm guessing most of them are being picked up around Tetre Rouge at turn 8, and it's that right-hander, and they're trying to take it too quickly, and it just throws the car over to the left, and you end up breaking the track limit. It can also be picked up in the, that was a big old slam. Let's go back and have a look at this, shall we? In fact, we will get the drone to follow Vane. Now then, Vane chasing RJ down into the first of the chicanes at Forza. Now Vane gets the job done. He gets in front of RJ. In fact, we'll jump on board with RJ now. Vane with that half second. RJ with a 1 second. Into the chicane they go. Oh, there we go. Big old slam. And that's going to give Vane a bit of whiplash. And you can see he's off. He's in the gravel. But RJ doing the right thing. He's waited. He's actually pulled over and let Vane get back on the track and retake the position. Now that's cost them both because that has opened up a bit of a gap, as well as the penalties they've got as well. So those two will be racing again. Now then, RJ damage at the front, Vane damage at the front and the back. So two very wounded cars side by side now. I think they're having a chat to each other. waiting for the nanobots to do their stuff and repair the cars, and then they can get back and start out a race again. Let's just have a look and see what's happening with PM10. Not that we need to ask, but he is off and running, and it must get very lonely out there. I hope he's got a radio in there, or he's got his earphones in or something. It must get very lonely. He's probably listening to some sort of podcast about racing around this track. It's somebody telling him the best route and the best line and the best way to turn that corner, because he must be bored. But that's what racing's about. I'm sure the guys behind are soon going to catch up, but as for now, PM10 has got a very healthy gap between himself and his nearest rival at the minute is Rufus, who hasn't had to stop for fuel yet. So yay for Rufus, and if I can find it, we'll give him a cheer, because Rufus, as I said, normally likes to burn through his fuel. YT in third, and a bit of a gap then back to Kian, but Kian having a decent race this week around, isn't he, on the soft tyres? Just over a quarter of a tank of fuel for most of these guys. Now we'll see quite a rush into the pits, unless somebody tries to do an undercut. They will all be pitting around about the same time, unless we can find somebody who is fuel saving, and if we do, then he's probably going to be at the back somewhere. Hamid in the Ferrari livery there, sitting in 6th. He's picked up a penalty. I think there's only a couple of guys that haven't picked up penalties. Panic at the Tesco down in 7th. Wow, what has happened to him? I know he's on the hard tyres, but that is not like him to be down there in 7th, although he's got the mediums and the softs to come, and well, he was the closest anybody got to taking the win off of PM10 last week, as he glides on by Dandan and drops him down to 7th. That moves Panic up to 6th. So Panic having a nice smooth race on the hard tyres. I think he is fuel saving a little bit, because he seems to have a lot more fuel than most of the guys around him. Using the slipstream well is Panic. As we get onto the Mulsanne straight then for the 4th time, and up to Forza chicane at turns 9, 10 and 11 if you're looking at the track guide I have in front of me, which I am. Oh, now then Panic, that was a bit of a late one, trying to make the move on Grahamid as they go into the chicane, and that was very late. Managed to get the car slowed down, and no contact was made, I don't think, but that's allowed Dandan to pull alongside Panic. Now then, Panic has got the slipstream, although he's dropped in behind Dandan, picking up the slipstream, almost a double slip from Dandan and Grahamid, but Panic at the Tesco trying to get himself on the inside of Dandan as they hit chicane, but no, he concedes that corner and just backs out as they go through the Michelin chicane. It is Panic in 7th, Dandan in 6th, Grahamid in 5th, although he is carrying half a second penalty. Now then, if it stays like this between these three, then when Grahamid serves that penalty, then Dandan and Panic should leapfrog him and drop him down to 7th. Now then, they're just coming through Mulsanne corner, heading towards Indianapolis, and then as soon as they go through Indianapolis at turn 16, 17 into Arnage 18, and then we've got the penalty zone. So we'll just stick with these guys just to see what happens. Now Panic is just dropping off the pace a little bit. You see there's a gap opened up between himself and Dandan, so he needs to close that if he wants to get the jump on Grahamid. As Dandan puts a challenge into Grahamid, Dandan doesn't want to wait for Grahamid to serve his penalty. He's trying to get it past him, and he does, and Dandan moves up into 5th, just ahead of Grahamid before Grahamid has to serve that penalty into turn 18 Arnage, and it is Dandan in 5th. Grahamid is going to be pulling over. Now then, is Panic close enough to actually get the drop on Grahamid? Is he or is he not? Yes, he is. So Panic moves up into 6th, and as we say, Grahamid drops down to 7th, having served that penalty, and he's going to be in the clutches of P. White. P. White is creeping up onto the back of these guys as they are fighting their way around this track through the Porsche curves, and P. White can see the guys ahead of him. Now then, we have people entering the pit lanes. as we predicted, it is the fuel that's forcing them in. So our race leader PM10 is in. Rufus, Kian, YT, I'm sure everybody is going to be looking at coming into the pits because they're not sure whether they're going to get one more lap out of that fuel tank. Oh, it's Dandan all over the place. What has happened to Dandan as he's gone through those curves? We will just go back and have a look. He'd done all that hard work to get himself up into 5th. Now I think he's going to risk another lap. He is. Now he just got these chicanes completely wrong, and yeah, there we go, across that sausage curve. The back end's decided to come round and try and overtake the front. Did well actually to catch it, and he could have ended up facing the other way, but he caught it. But that has now dropped him to 3rd. He could have ended up taking the lead of this race, but has now dropped down to 3rd. Now then, Panic at the Tesco has carried on through. He did have a bit more fuel than everybody else. He's got the hard tyres, so that is not an issue to him. He now takes up the lead. P. White has moved up into 2nd, also on the hard tyres and with enough fuel for one more lap. Dandan, he's pushing his luck on that fuel tank, but he has got the tyres for it. He's got the half a second penalty. So those three now have got to try and get themselves a decent gap. Steele in 4th. He's not pitted either. But look at this. PM10 is out on track on the soft tyres with a full tank of fuel, and he's already picking up the slipstream from Steele and chasing after the guys up ahead of him, knowing full well that Panic, P. White, Dandan and Steele all have to pit. But PM10, well, I think he's just going to sit there and use Steele, isn't he, to get a bit of a slipstream going, save a bit of his fuel. But I'm sure at the end of this lap he will be resuming his position out in front. Declan in 6th, he's yet to come in. I think he's been saving his fuel, hasn't he? He's done a great job actually of looking after the fuel as Declan. So about quarter of a tank now on the soft tyres. Sitting in 6th is Declan. Will have to pit soon though. Then RJ, another one looking after his fuel, and going to get 5 laps out of those soft tyres. Rufus, he's been in and pitted. Oh, and he's hit that pit line. He's broke the track limits entering or exiting the pit lane, and he's picked up 3 seconds, and I can imagine exactly what he's being said over the radio to his race director. I bet he's saying something like, oh dearie me, look what's happened, I've picked up 3-second penalty, or something along those lines. Now then, let's have a look. Where is Kian? Is Kian 3 seconds away from Rufus? You know what, I think he is. I think it's going to get Kian a lot closer to Rufus. It's going to get him closer than he would have liked. And the other thing is Rufus is going to drop away from RJ. He was on the chase after RJ, who he's got a pit actually. So Rufus should be able to get the jump on him even with this 3-second penalty, but it's going to let Kian get closer. I think actually Rufus may well keep his track position. I don't think Kian's going to get close enough to actually get by Rufus. He's just about to do the penalty, so we might as well stay with him and see what happens. So he's just approaching the penalty zone. There we go. Brakes are on. Just keep your eye in the distance. There's Kian coming around the corner now at Arnage, and Rufus doing everything he can to get back up to speed. He's just using that little overtake button, give him that extra boost to help him get back up to top speed again. Another flurry into the pits. We've got the guys who didn't pit last time, and that is Panic and P. White. PM10 has already got himself up into P3, and soon to resume his position at the front, because Panic has not even reached the pit crew yet. So PM10 back in front and leading this race. Then we have everybody else coming into the pits. The only one who's not got to is Rufus, down in 8th at the minute, but he should be able to leapfrog most of them and get himself up into 2nd, and there we go. And yet Rufus now moves up into 2nd because he did pit a lap earlier. Kian up into 3rd, also pitted a lap earlier. YT moves on through to 4th, with Grahamid moving up into 5th, just keeping YT in sight, and Grahamid on the softs, YT on the mediums. So this is Grahamid's chance to try and catch up to the back of YT. He needs to use them tyres before they start to drop off. So he needs to start putting some good laps in. His fastest lap is a 3:28. The fastest lap, oh, the fastest guy out there at the minute. Oh, and a good first sector for Grahamid. He's gone purple. Not him personally, but the speed has gone purple. So Grahamid really putting the laps in now. As I was saying, the fastest guy on track at the minute is PM10 with a 3:22.9. So a good 5, nearly 6 seconds off the pace as Grahamid, but then if you remember, he has been running the hard tyres. So he's now doing his middle stint on the softs and chasing after YT, and you know what, he is getting close. He is getting a lot closer. He's soon to be in the slipstream of YT. Sorry, I just need a quick drink. That's a little cough coming on. He's going to soon. He's going to be in that slipstream of YT, and YT. Not a lot YT can do about it, to be fair. YT on the medium tyres, Grahamid on the softs, and as I say, Grahamid really does need to make these tyres work for him while they are still good enough. They should be up to temperature now. We've probably done about 4 miles of this track. Like I said at the beginning, 8.4 miles this track long, 38 turns. So Grahamid really has got some heat into those tyres, and he's getting ever closer to YT. And we just saw as well a glimpse of Kian in P3 at the minute. Kian running the medium tyres, so I'm guessing that's the target for Grahamid. I think he knows he's going to catch up to and overtake YT very shortly. If not at the end of this lap, it'll be on the next lap. So I think Grahamid is probably eyeing up Kian and looking at getting himself up into P3. Had a good finish last week. He finished in 3rd last week, got himself on the podium. So he's had a sip of champagne as Grahamid and fancies a bit more. Panic down in 6, having made a stop. He's now onto the medium tyres, so he's got the soft tyres to look forward to for the final stint. Then we've got PY in 7th. Peter carrying a half a second penalty. It's not going to affect his track position either. Declan is just too far back. Then we've got a bit of a scrap now for P9 with Declan, Dan and Steele all fighting their way through. Let's have a look at the tyre situation. Declan on a brand new set of mediums, as is Dan and Steele, so very evenly matched. All got the same engine, same aerodynamics, same tyres. I think they all weigh the same as well. So very evenly matched. Not sure about ages. I know Declan's about 15. I'm not sure about Dan. But a good little scrap going on here then. Declan 9th, Dan, then Steele. I'm not sure of Steele's age either. Could be 10, could be 90. There's a few I don't know the ages. Of course, we are all, there's quite a few of us meeting up at Silverstone this week. And for those that are going along, I hope you have a great day. Hope to see you there. And for those that are not coming, well, we are very sorry you are not coming. That's all I need to say about that. RJ down in 12th with Vane in 13th, and he's carrying a penalty as well. And if you look at the map on the right, at the top right, you can see there are quite a few gaps opening up. The biggest and most noticeable gap is this one, PM10 out in front. His closest rival is Rufus in 2nd. And if you look at the little red triangles, that's Rufus sitting in 2nd, and then if we go to 1st, that is PM10. Now it doesn't look, well, it does look quite big on that map, but you think that this track is just over 8 miles, nearly 8.5 miles long, then you can work it out that is quite a good old distance between the two. You're probably looking at half a mile, maybe just under. But it is a good old lead for PM10, and yeah, I'd like I say, I hope he's got his earphones in and a bit of a podcast going. because he is all on his own. It must be hard to concentrate when you're that far ahead. I would never know. Never been that far ahead, I don't think. I've been that far behind, but never that far ahead. So it must be tough to keep your concentration. Ooh, and that could have got nasty, couldn't it? He is still pushing hard, isn't he? He's just not easing off. I think he wants to get that. He wants to get the win. He wants to get the fastest lap, and I think he wants to put that fastest lap out of the reach of anybody else. Currently, it's sitting at a 3:21.2, which was lap 6, his last lap. So he's looking to beat that again on lap 7. So we'll come back to PM10 in a minute, because we're going to do a full lap. We'll do a full lap with PM10 as Rufus just comes around on Arge at turn 18, and it's getting a bit lonely for Rufus as well. You can just see Kian in the background with Grahamid. Already got past YT like we thought he would, and is now got his sights set firmly on Kian. Now then, we're going to jump on board with PM10 as he crosses the start finish line. We're going to do a lap with PM10. This is he's going to show us how it's done. So he's going to take us up through turn 1 at Dunlop Curve. Then we're going to go into the S's, and this is where it all gets very confusing on how many turns there are, because there's like little kinks in the road. Some people count them, some people don't. Around the left-hander, then we'll go around the right-hander, and then we're into Tetre Rouge now. This is turn 8, which is where a lot of people get the penalty there, just as on the left-hand side, if you break that line. But PM10 made it look very easy, didn't he? Quick look behind it. Well, it's pointless because there's nobody there. Have a quick look at the mirrors, check the radio. So we're on to the Mulsanne straight then, up towards Forza Chicane at turn 8, 9 and 10. Sorry, 9, 10 and 11, the first of the chicanes. Into the braking zone, just a dab of the brakes for PM10, then he's back on the power again, just catching that slide before it got out of hand. Then we have just over a mile stretch from the exit of the Forza Chicane down the Mulsanne straight into the Michelin Chicane at turn 12, 13 and 14. Speeds of 178 miles an hour for PM10 as again into the braking zone, into the Michelin Chicane, keeping things nice and tight, using every inch of the track that is allowed. He'll be kicking himself half a second down on his fastest lap. Then it is a bit of a run uphill, and then we go down a very slight hill towards Mulsanne corner at turn 15. This very sharp right-hander, again just keeping check of the back end, using every inch of the track, using that curve on the left as well, just to straighten the car up. Then again, foot planted firmly on the noisy pedal. Like I said at the beginning, 85% of this track is full throttle, so you need your lead boots on, especially on your right foot when you are on this track. But PM10 just sort of sticking to the left a little bit as we head down towards Indianapolis. Then at turns 16, 17 and 18, fuel lights start to flash, so he'll be thinking about coming into a pit at the end of this lap. Through Arnage at turn 18, under the Porsche banner, heading towards the Porsche curves. Again, gets very confusing on how many of these corners are actually counted, because they're more like kinks in the road. But this is the tricky bit that's just coming up. You've got this right-hander here, really taking a very wide turn into that right-hander. Full throttle through this section. Somebody's already took one of the barriers out there. Again, full throttle through there. He doesn't want to lift up, does he? I think he's forgotten his brake. He's left it in the boot of the car. And then he should be diving into the pits, and there we go. So that was almost a lap with PM10, who comes into the pits. Rufus will probably be doing the same. And I think PM10 is actually going to get to the pits, fuel up and that before anybody else even gets there. But Rufus, what a fantastic race he's having. We are just approaching 28 minutes of this. It's about a 50-minute lap, 50-minute race. It's around about 14, 15 laps. So Rufus into the pits, as we thought he might do. Same with Kian. who's got Grahamid all over the back of him, and Grahamid is going to come into the pits as well. Now then, Grahamid slightly more fuel, so then that's going to be interesting to see whether Grahamid gets out before Kian does. Depends how quick this pit crew is, so let's just see. Look at them, like coiled springs waiting for Grahamid. The rest of them look very bored, don't they? Look, where's my guy? He's looking at his watch. He looks very fed up, doesn't he, the guy there in the Ferrari red? Is he waiting for Grahamid? It's a long wait to get into this pit stop. Now then, let's see if the guys leap into action. Hardly leaping into action, are they? But this is going to be interesting to see whether Grahamid gets out before Kian, because Grahamid had slightly more fuel in the tank as they entered the pits. PM10 is back out and in front. Panic at the Tesco has stayed out, so he's now taken up P2. P White has gone through into third, with Dandan in fourth, Declan fifth. Rufus out on track now on the soft tyres and a full tank of fuel, but he has come back out in sixth, but the guys in front of him have got a pit. Steele has carried on through and into seventh. Kian did get out in front of Grahamid. Kian on the hard tyres, Grahamid on the mediums, so this could be Grahamid's opportunity now. He is right up the chuff of Kian, got himself his nose under Kian's rear wing. He's just got to be steady, just get some heat into those tyres, and he will be making a move through Tetre Rouge, trying not to pick up a penalty onto the Mulsanne straight into the slipstream, and it is Grahamid going to make a move on Kian before they get to the first of the chicanes. They are side by side, and I think Grahamid is just about to get his nose in front. No, he's not. Obviously, tyre compound doesn't really matter when you're in a straight line, but Grahamid does or will have the better grip as they go into the first chicane. But Kian dives in there and manages to maintain and keep hold of P8, but Grahamid will get back into that slipstream and be looking at making his move. Now he's got just over a mile if he wants to get this move done before they hit the Michelin chicane. It is Grahamid, let's jump on board, let's get on board with Grahamid. There we go, the slipstream really pulling it. Whoa, ho, 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 ho. I thought that Grahamid was leaving it a little bit late. He has now pulled himself onto the inside, but like I said at the beginning, Kian does not give these corners up very easily. He is still there. Grahamid has to go very wide. He's trying to give him lots of racing room. Now he may have picked up a penalty there, and you have got to be a brave man to take on Kian into a chicane. Kian will not give you an inch. If you want it, you have got to earn it. He will not give anything away. But now Grahamid having another look as they come up towards Mulsanne corner then for the 9th time. Grahamid needs to get by Kian. He needs to clear him so he can get on after Steele, who is up the road a little way. And Grahamid, while he's got the softer compound tyres, he needs to get himself in front of Kian. Let's just have a shoot up to the top and see what's happening. Now it is Panic at the Tesco that is in second at the minute, but he's going to have to stop before he gets anywhere near PM10. Now Panic, I think he's probably got one more lap left in that fuel tank as we come towards the end of lap 9. So yeah, he stays out, no reason for him to come in yet. Plenty of wear in the tyres. It is going to be the fuel that forces him in. Now the gap, well, there's a gap between PM10 and Panic. PM10 on the hard tyres, but he's got nothing to worry about at the minute. Plenty of fuel, just crept under half a tank of fuel, whereas Panic just under a quarter of a tank. So Panic is going to have to go into the pits before PM10 does. P White in third, he's going to have to pit very soon as well. Rufus sitting in fourth, having a fantastic race, I've got to say. Hats off to Rufus at the minute. He is having a great race, and currently holding on to P4. He is on the soft tyres, with Dandan just behind him on the medium, so Rufus should start to open up a little bit of a gap. Now as Dandan decides he's not bothering with the actual track. Why bother with the actual track when there's a shortcut there? Take that. Oh, that's why you get yourself another half a second, so that puts him up to a second penalty for Dandan. He didn't, for those that watch, he didn't actually cut that corner on purpose. He just couldn't get the car slowed down enough. I hope that there's nobody out there that actually believes he would have cut that corner on purpose. I'm sure there's not. but Dan now with a 1 second penalty. And Rufus has picked up half a second, so penalty still being dished out, and it is Tetre Rouge again that claims some more victims. Let's have a look what's happening in P6. It is Steele all on his lonesome. Now the problem with running on your own is you're not picking up any slipstream, so you are burning through the fuel. You really need to get tucked up behind somebody to try and save on a bit of the old go-go juice. But Steele sitting in 6th, he's got Grahamid. Has managed to get by Kian. Sorry we missed that. But it was inevitable, wasn't it, with Grahamid being on the mediums, Kian on the hard tyres. But Kian will keep going. He's in 8th, Grahamid in 7th, and he's now got Steele firmly in his sights. What Steele? Steele is on the mediums as well, but he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap. Grahamid, plenty of fuel and plenty of tyre, so he'll keep going. He'll move up into 6th. Let's have a look. He's Dan's got a pit as well, and he's got that 1 second. So there is a chance for Grahamid to get himself up into 5th. I don't think he's going to get himself any further up than that. P. White has got a pit, but Rufus should move up into 3rd, although there is quite a gap between them. Panic has got to come in at the end of this lap. The fuel light is on, so he may be trying to do a little bit of fuel saving, although the old rev counter at the bottom of the screen is telling me something completely different as he's revving the hoo-haws off of that Super Formula car. Round and through the S's goes Panic at the Tesco. These things really do grip the track, don't they? Very difficult to get used to, especially if you've been driving the GT3s and GT4s, or GR3s and GR4s. I keep being told off about that. You'd never get quite used to the grip that these things provide as Panic dives into the pits. Then PM10 carries on going. Oh, he's picked up a half second. That's very rare. If anybody wants to take a picture, quick. PM10 with a penalty. Do a screenshot, quick. So Panic into the pits then for the last time, he hopes. Same with P. White, he's into the pits. Rufus coming around the chicane. Oh, nearly not bothering with the chicane. He's just going to go straight across it. He'll be lucky if he doesn't get a penalty there, but I think he may have got away with it, and he has as he moves up into P2. Needs to be careful of that. You'll end up damaging the tyres more than you really need to, Rufus. So quite a lot of action in the pit lane then as Grahamid moves himself up into P3. He will have one more stop, I think. I'm not sure, actually, looking at the fuel, I'm not sure. Grahamid might be alright. He might be looking at another 3rd place for Grahamid. We shall see. Kian has stayed out on the hard tyre, plenty of tyres, he's on those hards, and just over half a tank of fuel. Panic has back out on soft tyres. Now the chase is on, although I think it's a big ask for him to catch up to PM10. Let's have a look. There's Panic just coming up to Tetre Rouge now, and let's have a look where PM10 is. Well, he's just going through the Michelin chicane, isn't he? So I think it's going to be a big ask actually for Panic at Tesco to get anywhere near PM10, but he could get himself on the podium. He is a very quick driver, knows his way around the car as well, as we've seen. And last week he had a good old recovery race, didn't he? I think he had a big spill, didn't he? Got himself back into the race and up onto the podium and almost kissing the bumper of PM10's car. So we won't write him off just yet for a podium finish. Currently sitting in 5th. He's got P. White just behind him on a fresh set of soft tyres and a full tank of fuel for P. White, so that should see him to the end of the race. We are just coming up to 38 minutes, so roughly 12 minutes of this race left. Whitey in 7th, he's on the hard tyres. Then we've got Steele in 8th. Declan battling for 9th, still with Dan picking up another penalty. I'm not sure if it's another penalty or the same penalty or just I don't know. It just that many penalties being dished out, but Dan into the slipstream. on board with Declan. A quick look behind us. What a fantastic shot that is to see Dan, and then Dan decides he's going to make his move and pulls to the side. Now he is on the outside as they get towards this chicane. Is he going to get the job? Yes, he is. He just gets himself in front. Declan has to concede that one and let Dan into the chicane first. Remember, this is only Declan's second race, and he might just get a penalty himself there. He did cross the line, I'm sure he did. But this is only Declan's second race in these cars, so he is doing a great job as he picks up the slipstream. I think that was a good exit as well out of the chicane. Got into the slipstream very early on and made it look like a very easy pass for Declan as we head down towards Mulsanne Corner for the 11th time in this race. I think Declan a little bit keen to turn the wheel into that corner then. Could have left it just a tenth later, might have made the corner a little bit smoother, but the job was done. And as he looks behind him, we have got Peter coming down on him very, very, very quickly. These guys must have a rocket shoved up the exhaust pipe, because look how quickly they are catching up to the back of Declan. It is Peter and RJ both battling away as RJ goes through. He's going to make a move on Declan. Surely not at Indianapolis. No, RJ just backs off a little bit. Now then, let Declan get through on ours. Look for yourself to get a good exit, and that's when you put your foot down. And there we go. RJ goes sailing on by, gives Declan a bit of a wave as he goes through. Now it is Peter's turn to catch up to the back of Declan. Declan running on those hard tyres, RJ on the mediums, and he has picked up a bit of damage, so there was a bit of contact between himself and Declan. Well, what's happened up at the front? As PM10, I think PM10 may have made a pit stop. He has, so PM10 has made a pit stop. He was on the hard tyres, wasn't he? So he's made a pit stop, come out on the soft tyres and a full tank of fuel for the last 10 minutes. But that has allowed Rufus to go through and take the lead for this race for the first time. I think it's the first time actually he's leading this race, and he is off and running. Now then, PM10 has got some work to do. Maybe he just fancied having a race with somebody. He is on those soft tyres. We know he is quick, and he has got Grahamid chasing him as well on the mediums. Quarter of a tank of fuel for Grahamid, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe Grahamid has got to make one more stop. Rufus, I think Rufus is going to have to make a stop as well, so PM10 not really that bothered that he's sitting in P2 at the minute. He's probably been told by the race director that Rufus has got to make another stop for fuel, even if it's not tyres, although he'll probably get a new set of boots put on while he's in there. But Rufus being chased down by PM10. Oh, actually, Keir Starmer. Do you think PM stands for Prime Minister at number 10? Do you think it is? Do you think it's Keir Starmer? Could even be Boris. Ooh, there's a thought. Grahamid sitting in third at the minute. Now then, I did say Grahamid earlier on. I thought Grahamid was going to stay out and last to the end of the race. Maybe not. Maybe this race really is a three stopper or four stopper. I've lost count. Panic on the soft tyres, just over half a tank of fuel. Chasing Grahamid, he's got him firmly fixed in his sights. We'll go on board, shall we, with, let's see if we can get a better view. There we go, we'll use the overhead cam shot. It's almost like we're sat on top of his head, and I'm sure he doesn't need that kind of distraction, but a great view for us as we're chasing Grahamid down, currently sitting in third. Panic is fourth as we enter quite a tricky part of this track, into these S's, this right, this left, then a left again. Oh, good last sector for a good third sector for Panic at the Tesco. He's on for the fastest lap. Is he going to nick it? Oh, I don't think he's going to nick it now. It looked very wide. Yeah, 1 second penalty. Did go very wide into that final turn as Grahamid dives into the pits. Panic at the Tesco was pointless looking anymore. We've got a big red penalty sign written across the front of us. We can't see anything. So we shall leave Panic at the Tesco alone as he moves up into P2. behind PM10. PM10 now should be able to finish this race actually on these tyres and the amount of fuel he's got. He's picked up half a second as well, so this track really is claiming the best of them. Panic into second. Oh, he's got a, well, he's carrying that 1 second, we saw that. Now he is a bit closer to PM10. So are we going to see another battle? I didn't think that Panic was close enough to PM10 to actually make a race of this, but we saw it last week. In fact, if we have a look, oh, well, we can't see, can we? I was hoping we could see PM10 up ahead as YT goes into the pits. Let's have a look, see what's happening elsewhere. P. White has moved up into third. Now then, has he got enough fuel and tyres to make it to the end of the race? We have about 6 minutes left. Rufus in fourth, trying desperately to catch up to the P. White. Rufus would dearly love to get himself on the podium, wouldn't he? I think the tyres will let him down. He will start to lose a bit of grip. P. White has much better grip. Brand new set of tyres for him. And still plenty of overtake juice, and he is using it. He is really planting his finger on that overtake button to get away from Rufus. Rufus just about, well, he's hardly got anything left in the tank of the overtake button. Now, I'm not sure, can somebody tell me, just write in the comments, I've never known this, if you use the overtake button, does it actually drain your fuel tank, or is it a separate tank? Just let me know in the comments below. But P. White has just got his finger planted firmly on it. He just doesn't care, does he? He's going to use it all up. He'll do anything he can to stay in front of Rufus. Maybe he doesn't know the tyre condition that Rufus has got, but they are wearing out very quickly, those soft tyres on Rufus's car. He is punishing them to try and catch up to the back of P. White. Up at the front it is PM10 who's just about to serve that penalty. Just keep your eye in the distance, see whether he comes around the corner. No, we didn't see him. That Panic, we're looking for Panic at the Tesco, currently sitting in P2, although he has a big old 1 second penalty as PM10 serves his. There's Panic in the distance. PM10 has served his penalty. Panic has served his, although that has dropped him back a few more tenths away from PM10. Then we've got P. White in third, just keeping a good distance between himself and Rufus, who's sitting in fourth. Mohammed in fifth, then Kian. Oh, and Kian, 3 seconds for Kian. That will be the pit lane as well. So Kian is going to have to serve that. That's going to drop him back. Now then, Steele in currently sitting in P7. He may well get the jump on Kian. We'll just stick with Steele. He's got half a second to serve himself, although I think he's just picked that up, so he's not going to serve it now. There we go. Kian serves his penalty and through goes Steele. Moves up into sixth, although he's now got to do a full lap with that half second over his head. He needs to get about 1 to 1.5 seconds away from Kian. Now Steele is on the softs, Kian's on the hards. But as I say, if Steele can get about 1 to 1.5 seconds in front of Kian, then when he serves his penalty, he should be able to hold on to P6. RJ in 8th on his own, a bit jerky there as well. So my eyes funny, and that's probably going to be a half a second there. He just crossed that line, or is he going to get away with it? Yeah, he's got away with it. Good. Dandan in 9th. Looking a bit smoother, isn't it? A bit of lag there, I think, from RJ. Not that he can do much about it. Dandan in 9th. Then we've got Declan in 10th. YT in 11th, with Pete in 12th and Vane down in 13th. Up at the front then we have PM10 with Panic at the Tesco in second. He can see him, he just cannot get close enough, and that must be very frustrating as we move into the last couple of minutes of this race. Looks like it's going to be pretty much the same lineup as we had last week, with PM10 taking the win, Panic at the Tesco in second. The only difference is going to be it doesn't lie. Grahamid is going to make it onto the podium as he did last week. At the minute, it is P. White that is holding on to that position. Rufus doing everything he can to catch up, but the tyres are starting to let him down now. Mistakes may start creeping in, and I'm just looking at the times. His last lap, although he served a penalty of 3:43 for Rufus. Wow. So, fastest guy on track is still PM10 with that 3:20.9. I've got a feeling that is just not going to get beaten. So, PM10 looking for a clean sweep of the points. Grahamid in 5th, and well, looking pretty steady for 5th is Grahamid. Probably try and push for a 4th, but I think the gap is just too big and he's going to run out of time. And if it is a 50-minute race, which I'm sure it is, we are into the last minute. And no real battles taking place now. Everybody's pretty much spread out, and they're all carrying penalties. So PM10 then, he is going to, I think PM10 could get another lap in, unless he decides to slam the brakes on when he gets to the line, but I very much doubt he's going to do that. So PM10 then, around the final chicane then, and across the start-finish line. Panic at the Tesco, is he going to get to finish this lap and start another one? I think he will. Across the line he goes, although he's decided to pull up. So Panic at the Tesco has decided to pull up. Now then, where is P. White as he runs the clock down? This is going to be close as Panic crosses the line in 2nd. Just did not fancy another lap. P. White in 3rd then. Rufus is going to come across the line in 4th. Surely he is going to be pleased with that. That was a great race from Rufus. Grahamid could only manage 5th in the end, but again, that is still a good result, and he will be pleased with that. A tough race here at Circuit de la Sarthe. Well, Kian doing everything he can, and he's got RJ chasing him. Oh, and there's a bit of ghosting going on, a bit of confusion between the two of them, and it's going to be a race to the line. And who's going to get there? It is going to be Kian, a 10th or so ahead of RJ. RJ just came from nowhere. Dandham will take 8th. What a finish between Kian. In fact, you know what? Let's just go back and have a look. We don't normally do this, but where is he? There he is. Oh, there. Let's have a look. Let's get the old drone out, shall we? As we start to approach the final chicane, I think Kian thinks he's got P6 wrapped up, and RJ says, no, I'll have a bit of that. Oh, and he gets himself on the gravel, and look at this for a finish between the two of them, and Kian just ahead. Dandan finishing in 8th. Declan will cross the line in 9th. And about got the fuel right, didn't he? He just crosses the line with about a thimble full of fuel, but that's Declan finishing in 9th. Whitey is just going to cruise on home in 10th. And Steele, well, he's crawled into the pits. He will finish in the pits. Now then, is he going to cross the line? Yes, he is in 11th. No need to come into the pits, could have crawled across the line. Pete, well, got away back, so what we will do is we will jump him forward a little bit to help him across the line. So that's Pete going to be finishing in 12th. Don't worry, PM10 has got the kettle on. He's already made your sandwiches. He's got the tables and chairs set up for you all in the pits. So that is Peter across the line in 12th, and then Vane again, we'll just give him a little bit of a push along, shall we? And there we go, we have, if I can get to him, our race leader. Oof, just about watched him across the line. So another great win for PM10. Panic at the Tesco in 2nd, and P. White there finishing in 3rd, makes up the podium. Fantastic racing from the League 2 guys in the Super Formula Series. Next week, I believe we are at Red Bull. which is going to be a fantastic race, because in these cars that is going to be a really short track. So look forward to that one. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed these races, just remember to hit that like button for me, and thanks for watching. I shall catch you all